Our first burial being 1848 till current. So, you know, we're actually probably one of the longest running, if you want to say, corporations in Salt Lake City, because we've been continuously burying people for 170 years. This is where our amazing cemetery started, is right here in this plot, C plat, with the burial of George Wallace's little daughter, Mary Wallace. Joseph Jack Slade. He was an overland stagecoach driver. He actually was hired. He was a teamster. He was a gunfighter, and then he was hired to assure that the Overland Stage Company would make it through. So they hired a pretty tough guy to do it, and he was actually lynched by a mob, sealed in a casket of whiskey, and he was supposed to go to Carlisle, Illinois, to his family burial plot. Well, his wife Virginia made it as far as Salt Lake City, buried him in the Paupers area with the intention of disinterring him and moving him to Carlisle, Illinois. She never accomplished that. And so he's one of my favorite guys to talk about, because he's part of what makes this cemetery an amazing place to come and visit. Porter Rockwell, who was known as the Avenging Angel, the Son of Thunder. He was the bodyguard for Joseph Smith and Brigham Young. And as you can see, when people come, they leave pennies or stones on this, and that's their way of saying, I've come, I visited you. Our streets are deteriorating, you know, and we need to replace them. This is actually a good street in the cemetery, which is sad, you know, because, you know, but, you know, you look here as you go up, and the streets need to be replaced, and we need to make sure that, you know, the funding for the retaining walls that hold up the burial grounds are kept up and maintained. And so that's what the master plan is doing. You know, the council's looking at it, and they're looking at the funding sources and that's all being examined. But we need to be able to preserve this amazing historic jewel so that 100 years from now, someone else will be sitting here talking to us, and they'll be saying, wow, you know, this obelisk is for Hiram Smith. You know, that's one of the tallest obelisks, you know, and if you look at these markers here, this is what you call a ledger stone, because it takes up the entire grave. They're no longer allowed in the cemetery for maintenance reasons, but this is a ledger stone, and this is what you call an upright stone. So, you know, and it's just the character of them, and you know what they are. And as you can see, there's still descendants being buried here. We just did a burial for one of the Smith descendants, and that will be sodded here, you know, within the next couple weeks. We have over 3,000 trees alone on this site, and we're planting new varieties now, so that in 100 years from now, those generations can enjoy the fruits of our labor.